All right. What's going on, everybody? Rodiverse, your favorite Pokemon TCG Pocket creator, content creator. We're running Blaziken today. Look how many Blaziken decks I built, starting at 17. Let me just show you guys real quick. This was my first version. I didn't really get rid of any of them because I was just trying to see. I was just making small adjustments to see which one's working better. This is my first one. Entei. Everyone was saying Entei is the best partner. I felt from the very beginning Entei was not a good pairing because of the high retreat cost, and that he's really not your main attacker and not worth throwing two energies on him, and just didn't fit well with the flame patch. It was just like not that smooth, and that was my only thing. Is like it just was never smooth. Here's another version. This one I think took out. I added the non-EX Blaziken. I added two lilies, one copycat. I might take out some cards. This is the second one I made. I don't know what's different about this one, or was that the one I just clicked on? There's micro changes here. I think that one might have had X speed. Yeah, this one has the citrus berry rocky helmet. This one has X speed, and I think the giant double flame patch. I think X speed and double flame patch. I think this one only has it's micro changes everywhere. And then I made an Infernape deck, and this is how I made my Blaziken deck. So I seen this. Now I don't want to take credit. But I must say, I've done. You can go see some of my oldest videos. Go look at my older videos. I do make my own decks a lot of the times. Normally, I make my own decks, except when when there's times I'm not able to put as much time into Pocket where I'm not confident in what's going on with the meta. Sometimes I'll glance at some decks or just a card I really want to play. So I'll maybe just get a deck that people think are working. Like sometimes like Garchomp or something. Like I really wanted to make Garchomp work, so I couldn't think of a good Garchomp deck myself, so I just seen what everyone else, people smarter than me, came up with. And I've made plenty of decks throughout my time on this game, especially early Apex, genetic Apex. I remember making lots of decent, good decks, and then the Pokemon pool size was so small, especially during the first season, that if you made a deck, most likely someone else probably also made the same deck. So there was almost zero originality because we all had a limited card pool, and pretty much you couldn't be that creative. Now you can be pretty creative. And what was interesting is that I made this Infernape deck, and then I was like, because I really wanted to play Infernape really bad. And I said, okay, let me make an Infernape deck. We got the Flame Patch now. He's viable now. He is super, super viable now. And I said, he's very much like Blaziken, but he's a two prizer. And nothing's gonna one shot him. He's pretty close to Blaziken. What's the difference between him and Blaziken? Not much. So I was watching a video about someone playing it might have been a Jolteon deck or something. I was watching Jolteon or something like that, and I seen they went against an Infernape deck. And it made me just like, okay, yeah, I've been really wanting to make an Infernape deck, and I think he's probably viable now with the Flame Patch. I did see in that video, that guy he got beat in like 3 turns, so I never got to see what his deck was made of. But anyways, I seen he did have a Heatmore in there, and I was like, okay. I think I had been, as soon as I did a complete set breakdown, and Heatmore was the card I was looking at for a while. I was like, he's really strong in the fire type archetype, because now this gives fire types a way to just really target bench specific mons. And this is powerful. This is powerful. Not too many Fightings had this. If Fighting had a good pairing with Hitmonlee, this Fighting could also be pretty useful with this. If they had some ramp energy or transfer energy, something like that, Fighting could make a comeback at any point. But Fighting's just so bad with energy, ramping energy. So, no unlikely. But fire is always very low energy. If you've ever go look at most of the fire cards. Pretty much 70% of them is going to have a low attack requirement, but it usually always seems to discard the energy. So you can pretty much kind of attack pretty quickly, but you can't build anything up. So your game plan is to pretty much set up and then just start rolling, because you won't be able to get anything else going. So the more time you take to set up, the better for you, because that way you can set something else up. That's why the Ninetales Rapidash deck was kind of bad and decent, because it was bad because you can never set up a second nine tails. Now I think actually that might be a deck to go back to, because now you can consistently set up two nine tails, and if you get double Blaine, that's 120, 122 energy on a stage one. So it's not like you need a rare candy. A lot easier to navigate a deck like this. So I may go back to that deck at some point. That was my favorite early game deck, was Rapidash Nine Tails. It was so underrated. I got plenty of videos on that. If you guys want to go look like a year ago into my pocket videos. But this in Frame deck, I was like, okay, yeah, this should work. Flame Patch. And Frame's biggest weakness was just the simple fact that he could not get into his he couldn't attack twice in a row. So 140 is nice. You're pretty much gonna one shot anything. But to really seal the game, you're most likely gonna need to one shot two things, right? So except nowadays you can get by with just one shot in a mega. But back then it was like he wasn't that great because you could one shot. But unless the only way this deck was good is if you somehow didn't played the match long enough to set up two Infernates back to back so that you could attack back to back. He has zero retreat cost, so he could attack, you retreat into your other Infernate, and you attack again. That was pretty much how this deck was gonna win, and that's so not viable with a stage 2 that needs double rare candies to set up two Infernates. So that was almost nearly impossible. But once the Flame Patch came out, which that item should have been out, as soon when they dropped the Infernate, that should have been an item. He has a way to be viable because now I just need to set up one Infernape and I can attack twice in a row. If you can attack twice in a row with this card at 140, you're most likely going to win the game. That's just point blank period. You're going to win the game. Now, what Infernape needs to pair with that is just a little bit of chip damage. He more and I specifically I was building this deck. I said, okay, he more seems decent, like a good pair, and I seen that pair and I said, okay, Heatmore's okay. I went through before I decided Heatmore. I just said, okay, I just want to play Infernape. I'm like, Infernape looks good. Infernape has this Blaze. This is, by the way, this is a Blaziken video. I'm just going on a long tangent ramp, so skip to the gameplay if you want. But I'm going on a tangent on how I got this deck or made this deck. So it started with me making Infernape. Let me clarify that. So if I was making this Infernape deck, and then we had Heatmore. I seen that pairing, so I'm not gonna take credit for. I seen this pairing, a Chimchar and a Heatmore, so I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. But before I decided to do that, I went through every other, I went through every single fire type to see if this was really a good pairing. Because there was another Heatmore that attacks the active for 31 energy. This one attacks the bench for 130. I mean for 30. So you're just like, okay, which one's better? I was like, okay, I think it's a lot more important to be able to do things like snipe a baby, maybe late game, whatever it may be. I think that's very important. And one thing I thought about too, I was like, Infernape, if he gets one attack off, and we can knock like an EX, if he has a baby or something on the bench, I can just retreat for free with Infernape, go into Heatmore in the game like that. So I was like, okay, that's a viable strat too. So that's a solid play too. So I was like, okay, Heatmore seems really solid. Just gotta get Infernape going. I can retreat out of Heatmore to Flame Patch, and to Infernape, and really strong strat. And also, when you have Heatmore, anything they're trying to set up, you can pretty much disrupt it or put them in range to be knocked out. So example, not a lot of decks are running potions. Some of them running capes. But if like Giratina, for example, Giratina is 150. If I can just get one tag into a Giratina sitting up on a bench, as soon as Giratina comes out, I one shot it with my Infernape. He's no longer a two shot. So anytime Infernape comes in, I'm gonna get an active I'm gonna get a knockout on the active, and whatever they want to bring in probably already has some chip damage on it. So Infernape's gonna probably one shot that too. So only thing that we had to do was just make sure we was able to attack twice in a row. Now again, really strong strat. I said, okay, this works really well. I had played a lot of Blaziken before I made this deck, so I was like, I just kept comparing. I said, okay, why are we running Blaziken here? Blaziken does the exact same damage, exact same energy requirement. He can pretty much sub in here for free. It wouldn't be much of a problem. The difference between these two is Blaziken has a retreat cost. Mega Blaziken has a retreat cost. Infernape doesn't. The second thing is Infernape's a 2 prizer, Mega Blaziken's a 3 prizer. So ideally, you would think this deck is somewhat better in the aspect if you can set up 2 Infernapes, this deck is better. If you cannot set up 2 Infernapes, Blaziken's better. And Blaziken's better simply because of the fact if you're not setting up 2 Infernapes, because if they do knock out one of your Infernapes, you can just throw in your second one. So that's really tough to deal with 2 Infernapes at 170. But again, that's gonna be a long match and probably unlikely to happen. So I was like, Blaziken though, the beauty with him, he has a little bit more HP, but if he gets knocked out, that's the end of the match. But most of the time, Heat Mowers get knocked out pretty early, so it's like, it's like okay, most likely, usually if he more like you with he more, you're worried about he more getting knocked out in an Infernape deck because then then your Infernape becomes a liability to becoming their win condition. In this deck, it doesn't matter who gets knocked out because Blaziken once he's knocked out anyway, so you're not concerned with how many prizes they take before Blaziken, long as you get into Blaziken. Which again, you can say the same thing about Infernape. Pretty much, as long as you get into, it was a lot of games. I'm like, as long as I get into Infernape, we're winning. Same thing with Blaziken. The one crucial difference I seen more often than not, this was the crucial difference where I decided that Blaziken was better in this deck than Infernape, was that it felt like more often than not, I was in a situation where Infernape, I didn't get my flame patch to attack twice. More often than not, I was in a situation where I didn't have double flame patch, or I didn't have a flame patch to attack. So what that means, I would lose games simply because I couldn't attack. Blaziken doesn't necessarily have that issue. If you attack once with Blaziken, you can attack again the next turn. No flame patch needed. Flame patch really only is useful if you're trying to set up a second Blaziken, or if you're trying to come clean off the no energy Blaziken, and you're trying to come clean in with a no energy Blaziken, and you can set it up in one turn that way with the flame patch. So that's what the beauty of the flame patch is in this deck. But he doesn't need it consistently. Infernape needs it every time he's going for a second attack. Now again, that's just a second attack. Most games, Infernape, I'm gonna already have all the energy I need when I go up there. So he's good. He's good the first turn. He's good the first attack. It's just I just need to find one of the 2 flame patches in my deck, but before I attack my second time. That wasn't that hard to do. Pretty consistent. I was doing that pretty consistent, but it felt like that was my lose condition, and that was creating more losses than wins. And in this deck, I felt like Blaziken doesn't have that issue. So that's why I ultimately was like, okay, Blaziken. Now for some reason, I see that this deck is now on meta boards, meta charts. I don't know. I think someone said this deck was played in a tournament. This is my own deck. I made this deck from scratch. With Infernape. Now I had a Zangoose. I don't think I've seen some of the other decks that people are. I don't think some of the other ones are running Zangoose. Zangoose is specific Oricorio counter. That might be unique to my deck. Because I was like, with Infernape, I was like, and the reason Zangoose is here. The big reason Zangoose is here is from the Infernape deck. So Infernape had Blaziken, he can burn Oricorio, so he can chip away at Oricorio after a while, or whatever. But Zangoose was needed in my Infernape deck because I had no way to deal with Oricorio in there. So that is why he's here, because he literally transferred. I just kept the same deck. All I did was replace Infernape with Blaziken and, Chimchar and Torchic. That's all I did with this deck. I did nothing else. So this is initially an Infernape deck that turned into a Blaziken deck just because I felt like Blaziken would be better, at least in those late game situations like that. So, and also there's a lot of discard too. So discard is really rough if they discard a flame patch in an Infernape deck. If that happens, you're out of water. So very, very tough to deal with. And also another thing to deal with too. Yeah, you can retreat out your Infernape, like maybe to avoid damage, but to get back into your Infernape is really, really tough. So it was just a lot of mental gymnastics when it came to an Infernape deck. Late game situations if you didn't get your flame patch. So there was it was just too inconsistent late game. Early game, everything's set up, you're good. You get an early flame patch to attack twice, you get a Infernape out, you're good. You can get 2 knockouts, you win the game pretty quick, easy. Same thing with Blaziken, can do the same exact thing. No real difference, except for, again, like I said, just those late game where Blaziken doesn't need the flame patch. So let's get some gameplay in. I've done enough talking. I really want to talk about this deck because I'm like, I see this deck's blown up now. I made my own. Now I see it's become the metas now. I don't know. I was on I was on a 9-game winning streak too. A few days ago with my Fernape deck, and I made some gameplay of that too. And I was like, I noticed everyone was I was just beating everybody, and I said, you know, when you beat people, are they gonna think to try your deck or anything like that? I've never like lost to a deck and thought, oh well, I want to try that deck. But you know, some people probably are like, wow, that deck seems solid. Let me try it. So I was like, okay. Oh dang it. Well, we do got well, actually, not dang it, really good because we do have Heatmore already. What I'm saying, dang it, was because I already had Copycat. This was a oh, well, never mind. No point. Never mind. We got the perfect hand anyway, so no point in no point here. Also, another thing too is a lot of times you need to flame patch pretty early. Like in the match. In an Infernape deck, if you lose a flame patch early, for whatever reason, sometimes you need to sub. Sometimes I need to sub my Torchic out into Heatmore, or pretty much that's like the move. So sometimes early game, if I go second, I need to make that play to get some early chip damage on them, if not just an early knockout. So that is very important. Ooh. This is gonna suck because hopefully maybe I'll see Sabrina here. Zangoose. We do already have rare candy. I'm like really scared to do anything here. You know what? I'm not. Cause I want to keep both of them. What I don't want to do is get something valuable like Cyrus discarded here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do anything. Wait, no, we went second. Let me do this, because we might get Blaziken. That'd be dumb. I'll feel dumb if we don't get Blaziken. Okay, yeah, we did. I was like, I'll feel dumb. We're gonna lose Copycat here, which is unfortunate. Actually, shoot. He gets a knock here as well. We double into, yeah, best to just set up Blaziken here. He does knock out my Copycat here, so it's fine. I was gonna give him the... Oh, okay, of course. That's fine, I don't care. Well, he may sub out here into Tyrogue. If I was him, I would attack here. I don't see any reason not to. Interesting. Oh, he's not attacking. He must have retreat then. Interesting. All right, terrible play by him. Let's see what we get here. This is interesting now. He's not gonna be do nothing for a minute now either. Let me I actually maybe no, I can still get flame patch here no matter what. This wasn't a bad energy. I said maybe I should wait to put my energy on. Okay, there it is. Good deal. There's Cyrus, so if he heals, we can't make this play though. That's the only bad part. Okay, good. He didn't heal. I've won like this. I won like this like my very first game with Infernape. My very first game with Infernape, I won like this. And I lost the footage to that video, so it sucked. But yeah, very interesting. It's so funny too that like we went so quick on those. I haven't seen Mega Pincer at all, but we would beat Mega Pincer very similarly. And one of the things too to know with this deck, I always feel like maybe we should run double Cyrus, but it doesn't feel it does it. I just know it's not gonna feel great to see. Like Cyrus is a card we usually need one time, and actually I haven't seen Sabrina in a minute. Did we take Sabrina out this deck? No, we still run Sabrina. I hardly ever see Sabrina, but we still somehow have her around. We run double copycat. We want consistency. We want to be able to get into Blaziken as consistently as possible. So we're running copycat. I don't know how you guys feel about copycat, but when your opponent has 6, 7 cards and you just take that for free, you're gonna get what you need. You're gonna get what you need, and it's really good early game to replenish your hand. I was talking plenty about copycat, and I have a whole video between copycat and May, which one you should pick. And just in short, in this video, if you're running like ulterior deck or something like that, I think they're running that trainer support card that runs double. Again, a lot of times they they only play one here, so I don't like fall into that trap where I play Heatmore. And even though Heatmore is fine to just take some chip damage, he's fine to just sit in the active spot. But if we get it early, see here we got the flame patch. It would have been okay to waste Heatmore here, but we can get some early chip damage here on him. So why not? Even if he does like Giovanni here, even if he Giovanni's us into which I wait. No, yeah, they can Giovanni here. Even if he Giovanni's, we're fine. Yeah, I imagine this deck runs Giovanni, which is totally fine. You still got 4 cards, right? I was saying, let me get Zangoose here. Not still okay. We got our second flame patch. Really hoping there to see our Blaziken and just go ahead and win there. So all right, we just need to see Blaziken and we win here. And we win and we win and we don't win. Darn it. Darn it. $50. I'd imagine you're playing something else. Gotta be. What sucks here is we could have got an easy win here. Now if he's running Rampardos, it's gonna make this yep. Of course. I was like, this guy's running Rampardos, that's gonna suck. We have to Sabrina him this turn. Alright, we can't handle a Rampardos here. Because yeah, this is fine. See, what sucks here though is, see, could we because we do 100, he does 20. No, even with the extra damage, I think he beats us here. He attacking us twice. Cause we would only did X amount of damage. Sucks here how bottom deck we are with Blaziken. At worst here, yeah. I was gonna say, as long as we get Copycat, so the 2 cards left in our decks should be Copycat and 2 Blazikens, and I think Like, yeah, and there's Blaziken, so it's fine. He's gonna probably concede here. Yeah, yep, yep. Yeah, he had a win condition there. It was definitely that. That's why that Rampardos. I would have made that play regardless if I had Blaziken or not last turn because Rampardos comes in. The issue with that was we already had lost two prizes, so even like, and we don't run Lily, so we knock out Hitmonchan. He goes into Rampardos. Rampardos hits us. He two shots us no matter what. Well, not with Lily, I think, right? Because he does 160. We're in two, but Rampardos does 160 in two turns, and we heal to one with a heal. We're up to 270. So if and also two they, I think that deck, if even if they run Giovanni, they get a knockout, or if they run just one red, they get a knockout with double Rampardos attacking me. So very threatening. Rampardos has been pretty much a solid counter into me, and I've seen that Hitmonchan deck before, and I've been waiting to pull Hitmonchan. I'm a big Rampardos fan, so I've been waiting to get into Rampardos deck, and Rampardos is he's so threatening nowadays because Rampardos himself, like, he has a big flaw, which is been he has to attack when he gets a knockout, he loses 1/3 of his HP, or I should say, yeah, 1/3 of his HP. He loses that, and then so he's an easy to knock out, and he takes so long to set up. So it's really difficult into to play against something like that. Interesting, interesting. Torchic, god dang. What sucks is we're gonna be sitting on this Torchic for a minute. Unfortunate. Yeah, we won't even be able to flame patch either here. Jirachi, huh? He can't double attack though into us, so it's fine. I mean, he may. So. Darn. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever he does here, he's most likely gonna switch. He's gonna switch Chinglings probably here. Either one's fine with us. He like loses the moment he doesn't. If he red cards us, we're in a bad shape. Yep, yep. I fear he's gonna sub. Perfectly fine. Not gonna do anything here. We got a good hand, but if we're most likely not gonna stay into it. What the I was hoping to get is another bench, because if he goes into Ulterior here, okay, good. No Ulterior. If he goes into Ulterior and Mega Ulterior and he Sabrina's us, we're in deep doo doo. Okay, this deck does run red cards, so very scary. He might, yeah, I was gonna say he definitely probably has it by now. I would imagine so. Yeah, and we just get Blaziken. But what sucks here is no matter, despite us getting Blaziken here, no, we just win actually straight up. Now I think about it, we just evolve into Blaziken. Ulterior doesn't knock here either. I think even now the max he can do, I don't. Well, he may have another Swablu, and I'd imagine. So he's still doing 130, but he would have to Cyrus. He's definitely running Cyrus. He would need the Cyrus, and then all we need here is a And it looked like he may have gotten bottom deck. Okay, there it is. Should have got ulterior now. At worst. And if he and he had to do that unless he has repel here. We win just off the we win just off going second here. And if we get red, I think we also just win straight up too, right? Let me see. No. 40, 60. No. He survives, but this is the end because he won't have any way. He may go into his second ulterior, but that won't do anything for him. So if we get Sabrina, we just win. Okay, nope. That's fine. If we got Cyrus, we just win there. So many win conditions. Ooh. How many prizes is he at? A second Blaziken? Do we risk it? I mean, we have everything we need. I really don't think. I mean, I don't see that. I don't see why. Nah, he already red carded us. What could go wrong here if we played this? Cause he doesn't win if he knocks it out, and then he wastes a turn knocking it out, and yeah. So there's nothing that could go wrong making this play. As far as I know, there's no way to transfer energy either to his second Swablu. So he goes ulterior here. He's just gonna be walking into you know, a hit. So he can't stay in either, or he gets knocks here. If he Sabrina's me, it doesn't matter. X speeds. Into what though? A second ulterior that's gonna take a hit. He's not. He's gonna put us to sleep. Shoot. That's actually tricky. Wake up. Ah, gosh. Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. The double, we pretty much lost there anyway, because he most likely had a Cyrus too, so that's interesting. Triple sleep there. Triple sleep. Triple sleep. If we woke up the first turn, that was the end of the match. Second turn also ended the match. Second turn, third, no, actually, we had to win the first turn to automatically win there. So yeah, it was a gamble. He won off coin flips. So one off coin flips. I think sleep is a little broken. Not being able to retreat. I don't agree with that. I think you can retreat out of every other condition except for sleep. I truly don't think I agree with the sleep deal. But who am I to complain? I say, please give me copycat here. That would be nice. I don't like this hand at all. It's actually not terrible, but either give me oak or copycat here. That's all I can say. All right. Yeah, Swablu, man. I'm thinking maybe the ulterior deck ain't that bad. It's very intimidating to get slept. I would say that it's very disruptive. I don't know. Is this the one that came with the deck? I don't know whose idea this was. Sleep is too broken in this game. If you don't like you have to waste a whole entire turn. Does anyone not? Did no one consider this at all? Oh, is this the Sylveon one? This one's the worst one I heard. I think, as far as I know. If we wake up here, that's grand. All right. I mean, yeah, early sleeps is like whatever, but goodness. Oh, maybe I should have powered a Blaziken. I just, I just thought about that. I don't know what I'm doing here. Definitely should have. Yeah, I definitely should have powered a Blaziken. Very big misplay. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what I was thinking there. And then, especially if he evolves this to Sylveon, it didn't even matter. But if at worst we just I'll see what we get. I'll go lead with Heatmore here next turn. Interesting. Keep himself in the game, huh? Yeah, very terrible play then. Terrible. We just misplayed very badly there. I don't know why I didn't throw the energy onto who we needed to go onto. It's alright though. Flame Patch also would have saved us there as well. Well, actually, yeah. If we already had Flame Patch, I wouldn't have been worried there, but should have definitely set up. But it doesn't. Well, actually, it does matter because now he can get a win with Sabrina here. So very actually scary situation now. So yeah, this can be costly here if he runs Sabrina. Yeah, big misplay. That was just very crazy of me to not make that play. And get a double knockout here. So if he has anything like Sabrina, he wins here. So unfortunate. And then we still got to find our Cyrus. And also he knocked out both Heatmores. So we're actually in a tricky spot to where we can't even knock him out on the bench either. So very unfortunate here situation. Huge misplays by me all around. I don't know why I thought I was like, because if he just gets Ulterior here, we're stuck because we didn't have our Flame Patch yet. So interesting. I'm crossing my fingers he gets Tails here because because he can stay in now. Shoot, that's unfortunate. Now he can stay in an attack for another turn. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Uh, darn. That burnt like that is another thing. This deck, you wouldn't think about it like that, but this is. How much is he doing next turn? I'm just like gotta cross my fingers he doesn't get of course we couldn't get into our second Blaziken either here. Just hope he doesn't have another basic, but I don't know what this deck runs completely. Any at worst he maybe draws into another Sylveon here. Like only way I win is if he just doesn't run like 5 basics. He may not with a deck this crowded, honestly. Interesting. All right. If that's his play, then we win. Oh no, there's Indeedee. All right, there we're up out of here. I Yeah, unfortunate. We needed that hit. It happens so often where that extra burn, it just doesn't happen. And it is very unfortunate. And that's the only thing that makes Blaziken slightly better than Infernape is that well and I feel like you don't have to worry run lilies in a Infernape deck. And here I probably should think about running lilies, but that's the big difference is that when it comes to that situation there, yeah, Infernape doesn't we're not worried too much about how long he can stay in the match most of the time. So it's just like long as he gets up at some point, we're good. Ooh. If we can get a basic next turn, we'd be pretty okay. Hopefully it keeps five. Keep five, keep five, keep five. Oh no. Oh, okay, whatever. Interesting. A flame patcher would be crazy good. I'm gonna make this no play no matter what. Just to show that red card didn't do nothing. I love to make that play. Like gotta flicks it. So copycat heat more here. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about 80 damage. We're good. We knock him into the match, whatever. If only though we had if only we had a flame patch here. That way is he can just go into his Pichu and that wastes the turn for us, but unless we get Sabrina next turn. So total he's doing from me attaching energy and all that, he's doing a total of 120. And we win this match pretty much if Pichu stays on the bench, so we just can retreat out here at the worst. And with no ramp here, even if he goes into, even with no ramp, we just knock. Even if he goes into a second Jolteon, we just knock here. Jolteon looks like decent on paper, but only like there's not really any decks that's favored well into it. You know, I mean, only like your win condition here is a giant cape, and you don't do that, so Raikou, yeah. And then at work, like even if that was like an Infernape deck, we would have won that one with the we would have won without a flame patch there with Heatmore. Again, that was the exact thing I explained at the very beginning. If with Heatmore, I'm trying to stop making misplays here. Um, I a lot of times just I'm just cruising on cruise control, especially with a deck I play a long time. So it's easy for me just to throw energy on the wrong one. Be like, okay, I want to do some chip damage here, there, but that ulterior, yeah, we lost ulterior twice, unfortunate, twice today. Ulterior is nice, especially with that sleep ability. Like that's very disruptive early game. I think another thing too is Heatmore is very common now, It's a very known deal. So a lot of times, I think a lot of people are running. He can attack me this turn, unfortunately. So I won't even be able to. I think he's gonna keep his hand though, so that's fine. Not the smartest play. He's gonna keep his hand, but I'm gonna be able to use that to copycat. But if not, even yeah, it's fine. I say fine if not either way, because I'm just copycat myself here. So I just don't like this hand at all. I'm gonna just copycat. We did get research there. We could have drawn two, but let's see if we can just reshuffle into getting a basic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's all I want to see is a basic here. Interesting. I just need only thing I care about next turn is to see a hmm. He may repel me here. Okay, he doesn't do anything good. We just need to see another basic so we don't get repelled or Sabrina. Tricky. Oof. Tricky, tricky. That's rough. If we get repelled or Sabrina here, we're in rough shape. But I mean, we can get some Chingling knockouts sequentially. It's not the end of the world. We just need to. Yeah. He's gonna get rid of most likely our red here. Yep. Definitely gonna get rid of red now. For sure. Oh. Strong play there. Darn. Gets to discard our research here. Hopefully we just draw into hopefully we just draw into our rare candy. But if what do we yeah, we can still get another research as well, so doesn't matter. At worst here we sub into heat more. But rare candy here just gets us a dub. Zangoose, unfortunate. We're just set up. We're just waiting on some way to get into Mega Blaziken. If he attacks here, he's in danger zone. He has to attack here, but this puts him in knockout range. So not a bad. Oof, my goodness. This guy, I feel like conceding just because he's managed to get almost every possible hand you could want. He's gotten every card. He got copycat when he was able to dump his hand. He red carded me, and he managed. And I had the one card that he There's the one card that was actually useful for me in that moment. So yeah, we just conceded. We lost. Unfortunate. There. That's the only thing about Mega Absol is it's not a like we're not like that's the and there's our Achilles heel with this deck is sometimes early. That's like our one Achilles heel with this deck is Chingling into an early Chingling. If we go first into a Chingling deck. No, it doesn't matter. Like it's first or second. But if they see like a lot of people, it's like they wait. If they see you're a fire type deck nowadays, it seems like they wait a minute because they're like, okay, I don't want to be in get heat mode or get attacked by heat more. So they'll wait a turn, and that makes it very difficult to do anything. He becomes just pretty much just a wall early game, which is sometimes fine. Like that's all I need. By the time they're gonna at some point have to throw something on the bench. It's just they get like two, 3 turns where I can't evolve even if I wanted to, and then by the time they sub out a Chingling, by the time that happens, we're in a situation where we go second here, so we can get into a Torchic. That'd be nice. I was gonna say this is probably a Rowlet deck. We run into this situation, and this is another deck that gives me trouble if I don't get on top of it early. We went second here, so that's our win condition, if you will. Um, is we should be pretty. Losing a flame patch there isn't the greatest. To get Oak again is nice though, and we draw here. Red card is I've gotten saved by red card. I've also sometimes I people just play the numbers and they're just like we want him to have one less card on his first turn, and it oftentimes just isn't that good of a play, to be fair with you. So I really don't recommend just red carding turn one. But there's times where they've gotten set up so good on their second turn. It's like, yeah, I probably should just red card it. So I've seen both ends for sure. So he may be able to evolve here. It doesn't matter too much if he can. He won't be able to evolve his bench Raleigh anyway. So if we do manage to get a rare candy next turn, some way somehow, we're in good shape. Copycat's also very nice. But yeah, 2 rare candies in the deck. Don't know if we can top deck it or not, but that would be great. If not, okay, I'll say if we get a second Torchic, I'm actually fine with living with a second attack here. 40 here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like this Torchic's gonna die. If he evolves next turn, this Torchic's dead anyway, so we'll just attack again. Set up Zangoose just to see if we can put some pressure on him. Because the next thing he's gonna do is go for our second Torchic, and if we don't have Blaziken, we're screwed. Shit. Copycat would have been perfect last turn as well. Okay, he doesn't have what he needs, so that's fine. Perfect for us. We can go into Heat more then. Oh, perfect. We did pull into Copycat here. Say the worst thing that can happen here is him getting into 2 Decidueyes. He has a strong chance here to get into 1. We do have a Copycat. That's what I'm really eyeballing. So we should unless I know this deck I think only runs strictly Decidueye. So interesting choice. Who do you target here then? Let's see what we get. Flame Patch. Oak. Thoughts, guys. Let's play the numbers then. Yeah, I think we still win here. Unless, well, he may have Lily. I think Lily saves him. Or Erica or whatever. He's probably running. May. Wait, he still has more? What else could he possibly be running? What the? If he heals, I think that's game, right? Yeah, that's most likely he has Lily. I don't see why he wouldn't. That's the interesting thing. So about that deck, I see all the time that that non EX Decidueye is pretty strong. 70 into the bench is if he was doing that with one energy, that would be just meta off just an early game. You just can if you go first. Oh my god, that would be. Let me not even think about that. But that would be meta. If that was a one energy attack, you could go. Essentially, you could go first into your Decidueye and just knock anything on their field for the most part. That's not a EX basic. So yeah, that deck, it's funny. They're weak to us, but we almost, if they set up early enough, especially if that deck goes second, they can pretty much just knock out our Torchics pretty early. So the only way we beat that deck is just our early Blaziken, and we unfortunately probably should have copycatted that turn that I used. I was trying to play the numbers, but it probably would have been more wise to just go ahead and copycat there. That early red also threw me off, I'm pretty sure. So again, this is a deck that wants to play his bench, but it's probably not, so that's fine. If he doesn't, it's kind of another. And this is why I run double copycat too. A lot of people are hesitant. They're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna play my bench. I'm not gonna do it. He has heat more. He's gonna just hit whatever. That's fine. Do whatever you want. We're gonna steal that huge hand most of the time. So I'd imagine. Oh, he interestingly enough does play. Dude, he ain't okay. It might not be playing games on me today. I would have had a crazy big hand to copy there. Maybe he knows. Maybe he knows what not to do, huh? Maybe he knew what not to do. Of course, yeah. Of course, we see Blaziken when we don't need him. You're always gonna see all these Blazikens when you don't need. Give me Torchic, please. Torchic right here would just. Oh damn! Oh my god! Oh my gosh! We might. We might have a win condition. Darn. I'm gonna say almost no matter what happens here, I'm gonna hit that Greninja if he doesn't evolve. But he did. Okay. So Cyrus is great next turn. Sabrina's great next turn. Um Almost anything else is great next turn. We could have went into Blaziken, but Suicune here is just a sitting rock, so at least for this turn, so we will wait another turn. He must have Erica, I'd imagine. Some way to heal. I should have doubled into him actually. Just in case, just to make sure he doesn't just walk in on me. Yeah, Irida. 40, 20, 70, 30. No, he still would have been in non-knockout range. That's why I wasn't really worried about that. But I should have doubled anyway. Would he been? He would have been pretty close. If we get red here, that's nice. But we don't run Lily, so I got to be very cautious here. That's why I wasn't too crazy interested into anything else here. Darn, I didn't even think about this either. The double burn doesn't even. Okay, it didn't matter anyway. He was surviving his turn. What sucks here is getting hit here is threatening. Also, that's not good either. Getting pinged plus, yeah, that's what might end us here. What could save us? Wait, we're taking 140 here. Yeah, we're in trouble, honestly. What are you gonna power up here? I imagine his Suicune. Interesting. His hand is super small. If he goes into Suicune, he's in trouble for sure. What he's ooh, interesting. I doubt he's hit Cyrus. I mean, he may top deck it, but he may top deck Cyrus, but or Sabrina. I don't know what this deck runs. I imagine this deck doesn't run double Cyrus. Yeah, okay. Figured as much. So, all right, good deal. I was like, we need either we needed a lot of stuff, but we got the one card we could have won with Red Cyrus or Sabrina was our win condition here. Red Cyrus or Sabrina. Yeah, okay. So we finally got a lucky into a win, and they didn't get their Cyrus. But yeah, this deck is interesting. It's dominant for a few reasons. And as you probably just seen, we just played a ton of matches. But one of the biggest things is that we have flexibility with the flame patch early game. So a lot of times, if you just don't get the perfect hand, whether you don't start with the right Heatmore or Torchic, we can kind of make an early switch if we go second or whatever. So a lot of times, if we don't get the perfect hand, we can sometimes still get into what we need to start attacking. Um, we have a lot of ways of setting up. We have a lot of which we have two copycats, two research. We have a lot of things that can get us win conditions late game. Red, Cyrus, and Sabrina always seem to always be a win condition. Remember, just the end of that match, any three of these cards won us the game. Any three of them, and most of the time, it's always like that. It's like we either just need Cyrus, Sabrina, or Red. It's no in between most of the time. And the reason I don't feel strongly about double Cyrus is because sometimes we just need to get whatever in our active spot out the active spot. So it doesn't always mean double Cyrus here just wouldn't feel great. Red also is probably one of those cards that we could potentially some games win without. Especially Red. Here's the one actually negative with Red in this deck is that Heatmore doesn't benefit from a Red. So sometimes, even if we're in a situation where we could play Red, he, Blaziken is the only one that benefits. Zangoose is not really gonna come out unless like I said, unless I have to use him, or unless Oricoreo's there. So and then Red doesn't play a factor. So Red is the kind of the flex card, but more often than not, there is so many games where it's like that extra 20 is what you need to overcome the giant capes, things like that. So it's so beneficial to giant cape countering that little and also Garatinas and again just again Suicune, since it's still so popular, Suicune with a giant cape, things like that. It's just that extra little damage goes so far in the curve, the damage curve, that it keeps us on track. So it's not a bad card. It just doesn't get utilized. It's probably the worst synergy here because there's no synergy with it in Heatmore, but also Zangoose has little synergy in his deck as well. He doesn't benefit from the flame patches, so seeing him at the wrong time isn't great, but he's not a bad wall when Heat Mode doesn't, come out. He's a good wall for sure. Like, and he does get us those curves too. And there's like, say there's a situation where there's something really bulky, and we, that extra 20 plus red plus Blaziken, like that gets us the knockout and win. So it is a little bit of synergy with that play and getting an extra 40 damage to get a knockout. So that's like 180. So anything around 170 gets knocked there, which is pretty much a lot of things. So it's super strong deck in so many different ways. The versatility here is what really makes this deck so great, but it's still limited. And us not having Lily also very much hinders this deck. But I'll tell you this: how many times have you had Lily in your hand? Lily's such a bad card. Sometimes if like unless this was what deck? Unless this was Decidueye where we're only ever gonna have Blaziken EX in the active, Lily doesn't always, benefit us. And a lot of times it's so many times that curve doesn't really even do enough to save us. Um so yeah, there's that factor as well. So yeah, I feel like we benefited a lot by not running Lily in this deck. Because what you really want to do is just set up and steamroll. You don't want a long match. I'll say that. You really don't want a long match. And so, and it's knowing that you have to play conservative with your Blaziken, and you don't want to take an early damage. So you don't want, if Blaziken's the win condition at all times, you want to keep it, you don't want to play it until you're ready to attack and all that good stuff. So, again, though, I'm ready to play maybe a little something different, but this deck it's been great, and it has definitely won me quite a few games. And I think when the ranked season starts, I'll definitely be back on this deck. But I may retire it for now. So I just wanted to make this video because I seen that it was getting traction, and I'm like, I'm getting no credit for it. But to be fair, like I said earlier, Pocket's one of those games where everyone has like very similar ideas because there's a limited deck side. It's not like we have like 2,000 cards to pick. Well, maybe I don't know how many cards there are now, but it's not like we have like 20,000 cards and we can all have the most unique strategies. So yeah. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy, thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. So man, we're out. Peace.